Just give me a moment. Okay, I think we are live. I'll start the recording as well. Everyone, welcome to the first session of Math Olympiad training program, both the intermediate batch and the advanced batch. So this is a course that we call as IMOTP and AMOTP, organized by Raising a Mathematician Foundation. And my name is Vinay Nair. I'm one of the co-founders of the foundation. I'm really excited to be here to talk to all of you and your parents and our viewers on YouTube. I'll request you to kindly hold on to your questions. So in this talk, what we'll be doing is we'll be giving a quick overview of what is Math Olympiad, how do you prepare, what kind of books should you refer to, what is the kind of time commitment, and so on and so forth, and the Math Olympiad training program that is offered by RAM or Raising a Mathematician Foundation. How do we go about that and how you can benefit from this course? Okay, so this is going to be the overall agenda of today's session slash talk. To start with, let me just tell you two lines about our foundation. So we are a not-for-profit organization, and our objective is to identify students who eat, breathe, and think mathematics and work with them, and also spread the beauty of mathematics to people across different ages. So that's what we have been doing since the last 12 years. And it's been great working with thousands of students so far. And some of them have achieved, quite many accolades. Just to give you some perspective, there are students who have won gold, bronze, and silver in the Math Olympiad, where they have been part of the Indian team. We have had students who have been, who were part of the Spirit of Ramanujan Fellowship, who have been awarded that fellowship. Two of them have joined us today. They'll also be interacting with you. We have had students who have been part of various prestigious math camps and math programs that happen in India as well as around the world. Okay, so this is in a nutshell about what we do. I'll be happy to talk to you more about this maybe towards the later part of today's interaction if there is time. Right, coming to our Math Olympiad training program. This is, as you would have seen, this is like a 9 month online interactive course. And this is mainly for students who love mathematics, who are passionate about mathematics, and you have this slogan as Dil Mange More. You want more and more mathematics. So the course is meant for students like all of you, and to enjoy the course, we also have some amazing set of faculty who will be interacting with you and who will be taking you from level 0 to level 1 to level 2 and level 3 and so on. Okay, and this is the fourth year that we are running. No, I think this is the fifth year that we are running the program online, and it's been a great experience. So we really look forward to interacting with all of you. Okay, so I think I can take a pause on my talk over there, and let me just quickly introduce you to our faculties one by one. So what I will do is I'll just spotlight them along with me. Right, so that is Dr. Murlidharan. So Murli sir, as we call him, Murli sir is a retired computer scientist. As you can see, he is a very young person at heart, and he was heading the algorithms lab in TCS, and he is a PhD in mathematics from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. And throughout his corporate journey, he was associated with mathematics, and until last year, he was the chief exam coordinator for the IOQM, the first level for the Math Olympiad. And he has a lot of articles and books to his credit. a lot of papers to his credit. So Murli sir, he'll be teaching you the topic of combinatorics, or as we call as counting, or permutations and combinations. Uh, and before I hand over to Murli sir, let me also introduce you to Tambe sir, Shri Prasad Tambe sir. So Tambe sir is, I would say, a mathematician maker. He has been involved in math education since probably what now, I think maybe 35 years at least. And he is based out of Mumbai. He did his MSc in mathematics from IIT Bombay, and lot of his students have gone ahead to become mathematicians. And many of them, they have landed in the industry, working in pure and applied areas of mathematics. So that's Tambe sir. For all of you, Tambe sir will be teaching number theory and algebra, and you'll be meeting him very often. And let me see if our next faculty, yes, Bhamre sir has joined. That's Bhas Bhamre sir. Bhas Bhamre sir, as we fondly call him, the man with whistles and muscles. So he's a geometer, and he's an amazing teacher. And some of you would have attended his sessions in some of the residential camps or online programs. And Bhamre sir is from Nashik. He runs an academy in Nashik called Bhas Bhamre Academy, and he's been involved in Olympiad and math education since again, at least 3 decades. Even though he doesn't look very old, but he's been involved in math education since quite a long time. He is also the editor for a math journal called the Mathematics Teacher, if I'm correct, by the Association of Mathematics Teachers of India, and he's also involved in a lot of other math organizations. And he's a great tabla player. And Tambe sir is a wonderful poet. He also writes articles for Marathi newspapers and so on. Okay, so these are our we call them Trimurtis, and you'll be meeting them very often in the sessions. So let me just maybe remove spotlight, and let me add some spotlight on people who will be auditing the sessions, and who will be whom you'll be meeting for doubts clearing and things like that. Okay, so we have with us Aparajit. Yes, there is Aparajit, and we also have Tejas. Let me add Tejas. Let me see if Mihir has joined. Mihir, can you turn on your video, Mihir? Uh, right, Mihir, and we also, let me see if Sai is yet to join. But yeah, once Mihir, yeah, so Mihir is there, but I think his video is turned off. Um, I'll introduce him after he turns on his video. So we have Aparajit. Aparajit is an engineer turned educator. He completed his degree in engineering, and then he felt that education or teaching is his calling. So he's been involved in teaching mathematics, Sanskrit, history of mathematics, and he's a very passionate teacher. We met last year, so he's going to be there. He's going to audit the course, and he's also going to come in for doubts clearing session on and off. And we have Tejas. So Tejas is a double masters in mathematics. So he did his masters in mathematics from IIT Gandhinagar. Then he did his MTech in cryptography from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. And right now he is busy with his PhD applications. He loves mathematics like anything. He also happens to be Tambe sir's student. So you guys will also be Tambe sir's student eventually. So there's Tejas. Tejas is from Mumbai, and Aparajit is from shuns between Chennai and Bangalore. So this is our team. Mihir is right now out, so his video is off, but I'll introduce Mihir nevertheless. Mihir was part of our first program that we did in 2014, and he was a student like all of you back in high school, and then he moved on. He went ahead to do his undergraduation from IIT Kanpur in math and computing. and he's working currently at Microsoft Research. And he started coming as a teaching assistant in some of our programs, and then he joined as a faculty for our informatics Olympiad, which is the computing Olympiad. So Mihir is also going to be around once in a while, taking sessions or doing doubts clearing. We also have Sai Patil. Some of you guys would have interacted with Sai earlier. So Sai is also going to be around for some sessions. She couldn't join today because right now she's preparing for her INMO. And from that, if you would have guessed, Sai is just 18 years old, but she is one of the best teachers of her age, and even people older than her. So you'll be meeting her as well. Okay. So this is the brief introduction, and there are two people who are working in the background but along with us, who usually are silent. One is Suraj. Let me see if Suraj can turn on his video, and there is Rakshita. So Rakshita and Suraj help us to hold all these Zoom sessions and do the background work. Okay, so there is Suraj. Let me just spotlight Suraj for everybody. That's Suraj. And Rakshita, if you can turn on your video, I'll introduce Rakshita also. So um, Suraj is from Aurangabad, and he is a passionate math educator over there, and he also helps us conduct all these online sessions when he has time in the evening. And Suraj has a YouTube channel where he puts a lot of interesting math videos in English and Marathi. So I think you guys should catch up that sometime. So that's Suraj, and we have Rakshita. Rakshita is an undergraduate student. She is based out of Bangalore, and since last year, she's been doing a wonderful work with us in helping us hold all these online sessions periodically. Okay, so thank you, Suraj. Thank you, Rakshita. And with that, I think I'll hand it over now to Murli sir. Murli sir, if you can just give us an overview about Olympiad and what you will be covering in the Math Olympiad course. Over to you, Murli sir.
Okay, let me share the screen. Yes. Yeah. Go. Yeah, thanks, Vinay sir, and it has been a very exciting time for me in the past 4 years teaching this course, and this being the fifth year. And every year I have to reinvent myself and reinvent the combinatorics topic which I teach, because it's such a deep one and also a very exciting one. And in this small slide deck, I will give you an overview of what is Olympiad about. Most of you would know that, but just let me go through that this one. So, okay. So usually in India, there are these are the stages of the Olympiads. We have this IOQM, which is the first level exam. And this exam is basically a 3 hour exam, which has 30 questions. And all questions are two-digit answers. And this is machine evaluated by in a OMR sheet. And then those who qualify from IOQM go to something called the RMO, that's a Regional Mathematical Olympiad. This is again a 3 hour exam with 6 questions, and then you have to write detailed proofs for this one. Then every region conducts a INMO training camp for about 5 days or 6 days or something like that for those who qualify from RMO. And those who have qualified from RMO go and write INMO, INMO, Indian National Math Olympiad. From there, whoever qualifies go to IMOTC, that is IMO International Math Olympiad Training Camp. This for 1 month. Usually it's at HBCSE or at CMI Chennai. Then from there are 6 students who qualify for representing India in the IMO, and they have a departure, a pre-departure camp, which is PDC, which is pre-departure camp, and then they represent IMO. So this is the usual stage. And if you really look at the number of students who qualified this year, IOQM, some 135 students participated, out of which about 4 to 5,000 students would have come for RMO. Then again, about 1,200 would come for INMO. And from there, additionally from INMO, we have about 65 students who go for IMOTC. So finally, it is 6 students for the IMO. So from 1,35,000 students to 6 students is the selection process in these Indian Olympiads. So let's go back to the other deck. I'm sorry. Okay, what is that? 1 second. Yeah. So this program, IMOTP and then AMOTP. For IMOTP, we are going to prepare for IOQM and RMO. As I said, IOQM is basically 30 questions with 2-digit answers, and RMO is requires writing proofs. There are 4 major topics in which the questions are set. It's algebra, combinatorics, geometry, and number theory. And AMOTP is for preparation for INMO and beyond. The topics are the same, but the problems are of a much higher level of difficulty than RMO, and also even the other things. So we will be for AMOTP course. Those who join for AMOTP course, we will be preparing for INMO, and of course we will briefly recall the basic concepts which are taught in IMOTP as well. And for combinatorics, there are some. These are some of the books which one can refer to. Most of the books you would have already been aware of, and this Arthur Engel, Problem Solving Studies, is a very old book, but it covers almost all the topics: algebra, number theory, combinatorics, and geometry. This Mathematical Circles is from the Russian authors, and then this is a very nice book and discovers mostly combinatorics only. And then there's a lot of very nice problems in this which you can try it out. I have written a book called Combinatorics for Mathematical Olympiads. You can get it from by sending an email to AMTI. I will send you we will share the email to which you have to send your request to. This is Rushil Mathur is a gold medalist from IMO from India, and then he has published last year a book by title An Exploration of Olympiad Combinatorics. This talks about only combinatorics, and it's basically slightly advanced level. It will be useful for those students who are preparing for INMO, that is those students who are in AMOTB. This is book from Czechoslovakia, Counting and Configurations. This is again a very old book published by the Canadian Mathematical Society. You can find it in the net. This may be out of print, but the thing is, as you know, these days you can see most of these books in PDF form available in the net. And the other important book which most of you should have is that IMO Compendium. What this does is that it contains all the shortlisted questions and long-listed questions of about 50 years of IMO. And this you can keep it handy, and then this contains solutions as well. So you can randomly choose one problem and then try it out for some time, and then look at the solution and then learn some tools from there. There are 3 things with 3 online resources. One is the AOPS website. AOPS is Art of Problem Solving website. This contains questions and solutions by the students of almost all the Olympiads in the world. And it also contains AMC 8, AMC 10, AMC 12, IME, all the exams. And most of this, particularly this AIME and then AMC 12 and 10 are similar to what IOQM we have. This one thing. And the other is Crux Mathematicorum. This is a problem-solving journal published by the Canadian Mathematical Society. It's free. And then by searching in the net, you can find this journal. And all the issues from the original issue number 1 are available on the net. And then it contains many problem forums like Problem Corner, Olympiad Corner, and other articles as well. It's a very rich source, and then this will be a very beneficial beneficial book for a journal for you. Of course, HBCSE website also contains all the previous year's question papers from RMO, IOQM, INMO, and so on. So these are the main things which about the combinatorics. For the other subjects, the other faculty will be discussing what is the required thing. Okay, right. Second. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So what are the things we'll be seeing in the IMOTP course? One is that in IMOTP it is basic counting techniques, basic recurrence relations, and pigeonhole principle, invariants and monovariants, and coloring proofs. These are the major areas which we'll be touching upon. Since IMOTP is mainly towards IOQM and partly towards RMO, so we'll be concentrating more on elementary level problems and then medium difficulty level problems. We'll also be discussing some problems which are at the RMO level, particularly this invariants and monovariants and coloring proofs are basically towards proof writing. So this also will be covering. AMOTP is a very in-depth course, and then we start with review of basic counting techniques, and we'll look at the recurrence relations, harder problems, and then pigeonhole principle, again harder problems. Excuse me. Invariants and monovariants, we'll be looking at this in very many detail, and coloring proofs again. And there are these topics are new to AMOTP, which we don't discuss in IMOTP, like combinatorial extremization, graph theory, combinatorial games, process and algorithms, and miscellaneous problems. So these five topics are slightly very advanced, and then we need a lot many more effort to understand them and then apply them as well. So we will be guiding you towards all these topics, and then don't be it's not I'm not saying that to scare you that these are difficult topics, but the thing is that they require much more effort than the normal ones which you come across. Yeah. So what are the ingredients to success? This is a very serious exam because it's almost like representing India in the Olympics. So you should know, meaning why you want to do that. That is a constancy of purpose. So you should believe that you will be able to make it, and then keep that purpose constantly in your mind. And of course, this is not a spectator game, so you have to play, meaning you have to practice, and practice, and then have the promise, meaning promise to yourself that you will never give up, because there will be times at which you may not be able to even solve a simple problem, but that happens to everybody. So you should never give up, and then you should always keep a cheerful attitude towards learning, because we are in the learning process, and we'll definitely make it again. And from your side, the commitments will be about 5 hours per week in the first 6 months, and at least about 10 hours per week after. And you should plan your time, because see, I know that most of you have also schoolwork and then other activities. So plan your time, and then look at how much time you have per day. And of course, you may have more time during the weekends. So plan your time very well, and then look at, meaning allocate the time very judiciously to the various topics, and stick to that plan. And one, sorry, one uh, one small advice I would like to give you, and you should enjoy this learning. If you don't enjoy, that means that you are doing something wrong. Either you are not training properly, or you are having some other attitude problem or something like that. So when you just get into a brick wall like that, then don't hesitate and don't give up, and ask for help. And will be able to help you, and then how to move forward towards success. And what skill will you learn in this program? It will be basically problem solving, because that's what it is. So if you really look at all the Olympiad questions, that will be problems which you have not seen before. So compared to school level problems, where in the exam, you will know the problem which you have already, most of them would have already seen, and then most of you would have already done that problem and solved that problem, but it is not so in Olympiads. So all the problems will be new, because they are all made by the experts for that particular exam. So you should know that how to analyze a problem, how to strategize towards a solution, and then solve that problem. So that's the skill which you are going to learn in this one. And then how does it help you? Meaning, what is that? What does it look like? Let's hear from the experts. This is Mariam Mirzakhani, a Fields medalist. Of course, most of you would know that what a field medal is. It's the equivalent of Nobel Prize in mathematics. And she has said that it's like being in a jungle and trying to use all the knowledge that you can gather to come up with new tricks, and with some luck, you might find a way out. This is about research. But we are not going to do research, but we are going to do some sort of a very small level research in problem solving. So sometimes what will happen is that you will not find a solution immediately, but as times goes by, when you are not even looking at the problem or thinking about the problem, a sudden idea will come. So that's what problem solving is about. And that aha moment, when you really get that spark of an idea towards a solution, is the most precious one. We are all here in this game just to get that aha moment because it is very addictive. So once you get a couple of times aha moment, then you will want to go, meaning, and then get that more and more times. So for instance, this Henri Poincaré is a very famous French mathematician, and he says that at times he was disgusted by want of success, and he spends a few days at the seaside and thought of different things. But as he was walking along the cliff, the idea came to me, and then I gave the same cuts of brevity, suddenness, and immediate certainty. So these ideas, meaning you may be thinking about the problem and for some time, and then you don't get the idea, and then suddenly when you're taking a bath or when you're playing something, the sudden idea will come. So that's the beauty of this problem solving as a process. This from a student. She says that initially it was challenging for her, but after this aha experience, you feel like learning more because the joy of obtaining the answer is so exhilarating. So I can't stress on this point more because that's uh, the reward which you get of doing this level of mathematics. So let me stop there. And what happens in this course? We are going to learn together. I'm as excited as you because it's also new to me in the sense that every year it becomes new. And then I always rediscover myself and rediscover the subject again. And many a time, lots of students have given me fresh solutions. In fact, in one of the classes, I already knew about four proofs for the particular problem, and then one of the students came with the fifth proof. It was extremely exciting. So that way, that experience is I am waiting for and looking forward to with this group as well. And let's have fun, and then it will be really a good experience for both of us. Thank you, Vinay.
Thank you, Murli sir, for that detailed overview. And I'm sure students will be able to relate to this particular thing when they progress through the course. So, so my point to the students would be, don't think that the first session is like a sermon where we are giving a lot of, good advice and all these things. But giving these on the first day, we believe is very important so that we set the expectations quite right, right? Otherwise, it should not be the case that after a few weeks you feel that, oh, this is not what I really signed up for, or why is it suddenly becoming so hard for me? And which is very natural because in your school you might be superstars in mathematics, right? I mean, you might be getting rank one, you might be school topper. There may not be somebody who gets math as fast as you guys do, right? But this is a different ball game, like what Murli sir said. Here, there is no, every problem is a new problem, and we are actually trying very hard to find out our own ways to solve that particular problem, right? And in math, there is something called as a learning. I mean, in education, we call something as a learning curve. So learning curve is, all of exponential curve. We all have grown up in COVID times, right? So you would have read in the newspapers it's growing exponentially and things like that. So learning curve is exponential. Initially, it is very slow. You will see that, oh my God, I'm putting a lot of effort, but there is no improvement. And suddenly, at one particular point of view, you say, like, oh wow, I have really become a superstar. I'm able to solve a lot of problems, right? But until then, we really need to hold on to our horses, and we'll have to really be patient about that. So that's what Murli sir was trying to share. And just one thing that I wanted to add over there, if you think, if you remember, Murli sir shared a few topics that are covered in IMOTP and a few topics that are covered in AMOTP. So IMOTP once again is Intermediate Math Olympiad Training Program. AMOTP is Advanced Math Olympiad training program. Okay. And every year we have a few students who sign up for the advanced course, not knowing how advanced it is. Okay. So students or parents might be thinking that, oh, my child is really good in mathematics. He or she doesn't have to do the intermediate and directly they can jump on to advanced. Okay. Advanced is something that you should do only if, or rather, if and only if you are certain that you are going to clear RMO this year and you'll be able to get into INMO. Because there is a lot of prerequisite that is required. Otherwise, you feel that, okay, what is this theorem that the faculty is referring to in AMOTP? I've never heard of that. That should not be the case. So, by any chance, if you have signed up for AMOTP instead of IMOTP, not knowing the difficulty level, I would urge you to go to the website and check for the prerequisites. And if you feel like switching to IMOTP, you can write to us at raisingaMathematician@gmail.com and they'll help. Okay, that is one. One more point, just using just a remark on Murli sir's language. He said we'll be discussing some elementary problems in intermediate. Okay, so when Murli sir says this is an easy problem, this is a trivial problem, this is elementary problem. Okay, it is not elementary. It is not trivial for people like us. What he means is in the difficulty level of all the Olympiad problems, this is the easiest. So he is comparing the problem not with your textbook problems, but with really, much harder problems. Okay. And there he's saying this is a easier problem. This is elementary or something of that sort. Okay. So when he says, oh, this problem is trivial, or when somebody else says, don't think that, oh, this is a trivial problem. Why am I not understanding that particular thing? Don't worry about it. It is trivial, meaning in this, difficulty level, it is a little less. Okay. All right. So I think, Murli sir and I, we have been talking since quite a while. We have a couple of our past students who have joined us, and maybe we can hear their journey and their experience. Okay. So we have Raghav Jain Prabhu to start with. Raghav, if you can just introduce yourself, tell us how old you are and your Olympiad journey, and how has IMOTP, AMOTP been part of your journey? How did it? I mean, overall experience in short, and any tips, any advice for your friends over here. Over to you, Raghav.
Okay, sir. So, hello everyone. My name is Raghav Jain Prabhu. I'm currently 16 years old in 10th standard right now, and so joined RAM back in in 6th standard, so like 5 years ago, and my interest in mathematics started through RAM camps and all. So that's what sparked the interest in me, and then slowly I came to know about what Olympiads are. I'd heard of them before, but then I got like the real picture through RAM. So that's where I started my Olympiad journey with RAM. And before joining MOTP or IMOTP, uh, I did try to prepare on my own for Olympiads, but that was a bit unstructured. So when I gave Olympiads in 8th, that is, when I gave the first level IOQM, that time I failed it by a very bad margin. So that was the case. So then later I completed IMOTP course and then I completed AMOTP course the next year in 9th. So both of these courses were like extremely helpful and all, and the faculties are like very great. Like Murli sir, Bhamre sir, Tambe sir, all of them are great in the fields that they teach. Like they're just amazing. So that really helped me out a lot. And then like when you do it like this a course like MOTP, then the learning is very structured, which is required if you want to do Olympiads. If you're doing maths on your own for fun, then it's kind of okay. But then if you're trying to do Olympiads, then there is a bit you need to have some structured learning involved. So like MOTP was extremely helpful that way. And like for whenever I was attending a class, there's always something new I learned about it. And suppose like I knew a topic which was going on, there was always some kind of new perspective in that I saw a new perspective. For example, like in case of geometry, if I'm learning congruence theorems and stuff, then when I learned it on my own, then that time it was okay. So like I had my own perspective. But then when Bhamre sir took it, there's a new kind of perspective that you see, like how somebody else thinks of it. And then that gives you really nice insights into a subject or a field. So that's kind of important, like different ways of thinking about the problem, different kinds of solution. So in Olympiads, like the main thing is not coming up with the solution, but how you approach it rather. That's the more important part, even when you're doing mathematics, I feel. So yeah, that's so essentially like emotivas help me in problem solving also. So which is again a very essential skill for Olympiads. So emotive is like, yeah, great course. I would recommend all of you to continue it. And another thing I would like to say, like how it helped me now, like I told you in 8th standard, when I gave IOQM, I was not able to clear. But then the next year I cleared INMO and I reached IMOTC, which was in 9th grade. So that was like you can see how helpful the MOTP course was for me. And yeah, so like it's an amazing course. And then apart from that, last few words I would like to say is that I'm really happy that you all are trying Olympiads, because Olympiads is not something easy or like your school exams or anything, or even the competitive exams you might give. Olympiads is something which is really hard and which requires lots of dedication to it. So I'm really happy that you all are trying, and like I'd like to congratulate you, like give a pat on your backs for actually trying and doing this exam, because lots of people don't even bother trying Olympiads. So I would like to suggest that. And another thing is like, don't ever give up. Like there will be lots of points in your preparation where you will feel that, "Oh, okay, I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that, I'm not understanding anything that's going on." Don't worry, just take a moment. You can, if you want, you can take a break from math for a couple of days and then again come back to it and then again try working on it. So one thing, don't give up and enjoy mathematics mainly. So Olympiads is also important, but it's not the end of the world. Like you have to enjoy the subject. And that's what's the most important thing you should take away from while doing your Olympiad preparation. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Raghav. Thank you so much. Just to add on, so like Raghav was saying, in eighth standard he couldn't clear the IUQM, the first level. Okay, and next year from IUQM to RMO, RMO to INMO, INMO to IMOTC. And being in IMOTC is like being in that top 60, 70 students amongst all the 1 lakh plus students who have written the exam. You see, but had Raghav given up after the first attempt, oh, I couldn't clear IOQM, then he couldn't be part of IMOTC. That doesn't mean anybody who does not clear IOQM will be landing up in IMOTC, right? But just to give a perspective in terms of the hard work and other things. And another thing that I really like what Raghav said is it is about how you think of a problem and how you listen when others are saying something about the problem. So he gave some examples where he knew a concept, but then when he listened to somebody else talking about it, you get a different perspective. And why I'm saying this, because sometimes we see students who are just, so, oh, I know this problem. I've solved this problem. What do you do? Then they will be just, thinking about something else, or I've already done this. No, the learning does not stop there. It's also about how do you listen and gather things from others, right? So thank you, Raghav, so much for sharing your perspective. We really appreciate, amidst your boards preparation and your INMO preparation coming up, you spend time with us. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Yeah. So that's Raghav. Let's now move on to Tambe sir to get his perspective, what he is going to cover. Tambe sir, as I said, is a giant in number theory and algebra.
Yeah.
Tambe sir, over to you, Tambe sir.
Yeah, hello. Let me share the PDF. Can I off my video? Will that be okay?
Yes, that's fine, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be teaching number theory and algebra, and I'll give some list of reference books which you should use, and some topics which we'll learn in this course. Yeah, so firstly, number theory, IMOTP. Number theory is a very interesting subject where we or which deals with properties of integers. So this is one book, Elementary Number Theory by Burton, and it's a very good book to start with. It's easy, it's interesting, and it contains many historical notes. So now for Olympiads, you should start using books, some reference books. This is good for theory. Yeah, another book, Nivenju Karman, it's a classic book. Even I learned my number theory from this book. And Niven was one of head coaches for USA Maths Olympiad team. So it contains some nice problems for Olympiads. Adler and Kure, this is a recent book, and that's good for both theory as well as problems, Olympiad problems. This is Modern Olympiad Number Theory by Aditya Kurme. It's a recent book written in 2020, and he was 12th standard student at that time. So that's good for beginners as well as advanced students. Highly recommended. Yeah, so these are the topics for IMOTP. I won't comment on topics right now as the course progresses. You'll learn or you'll know more about the topics. So these are topics from number theory which you'll learn in IMOTP. And I expect that all AMOTP students are familiar with all these topics. Yeah. AMOTP students must be knowing some nice references. In fact, T2 and this is the best person for AMOTP. You use any book by T2. So this is one book by T2. Another by Kurme, which is good for both beginners as well as advanced students. This is again by T2. These are all well-known references. This is also by T2. This is by Bilal and Parvati. Again, Olympiad oriented and good for problems. Yeah, so more or less, what are topics which we learn for IMOTP? Almost the same topics. In addition, we'll be learning something about CRT, some Moore-Diophantine equations, quadratic residues, Vieta jumping, and some miscellaneous topics. Yeah, so coming to algebra, this is for IMOTP. This is a classic book, Bernard and Child. It's a very old book, and it contains all basic topics from algebra. This is one more classic book, very old book, All and Night. And all the books which I am writing here or giving here, most of them, they are available on internet. You can freely download the soft copy. Okay, this is one of AOP's book. Again, this one book contains almost all basic topics from algebra. That's a good book. Fosaventure and Salkin, this is good for problems. Yeah, so these are the topics which you learn in algebra for IMOTP. Again, I expect AMOTP students are familiar with all these topics. Yeah, then for AMOTP, there are some special topics for INMO, like polynomials, functional equations, inequalities, etc. So these are particularly books dedicated to one topic, like Polynomials by Barbeau. And there are many books on inequalities and functional equations. I have given just one standard book by BJV. He was one of head coaches for Indian Olympiad team. This is again by BJV. Yeah, this is as uh, this is a small book, but a very nice book. It's a Springer book on functional equations. Yeah, so these are topics for AMOTP. As I said, few topics we will be learning uh, for AMOTP, those which are not there in IMOTP, like inequalities, polynomials, functional equations, and so on. Okay, so there are some books which are useful for all four topics, not just for number theory algebra. Here is one book, one of the first books from India. Challenge and Tools of Pre-College Mathematics. Again, it's written by all Indian coaches, Pranesh Achar, Venkatachala, Krishnamurthy, and so on. A great book, Mathematics and Mathematical Circles. It's an old book, and uh, there are two sections, first year and second year. So first year, first section contains about 400 problems. So maybe you can do one problem per day. Even in that case, you can finish half the book in 1 year. Yeah, another nice book, great book on problem solving, Arthur Angel. Again, it contains all four topics, but it's good for combinatorics and number theory. Paul Zitz was again one of head coaches of USMS Olympiad team, and this book is like Bible of problem solving. Very nice book, very great book. Yeah, so some books which are again common for all four topics for AMOTP. Excursions, this is from Bhaskaracharya Pratisha. And two more books by T2. One is Olympiad Challenges and one is Olympiad Treasures. Yes, so from my side, a permanent homework for all of you, particularly for IMOTP. You can prepare your own notes after each of my lecture. That will be very useful, very beneficial. Yeah, wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Tambe sir. Uh, right. So as you can see, all these books, I mean, I've seen at least 10, 20 times the number of books that he mentioned in his personal library at home. And he has another library outside of home at somebody else's place. So he has gone rigorously through all these books, and then he has picked some of these handbooks and handpicked books and shared with all of you. Okay. So thank you, Tambe sir, for sharing that. We now let's just quickly move on to Manu. Manu was Manu. I mean, he still is, but he was a very very old student. I think Manu joined when he was probably in grade six or so, or grade five. I don't remember exactly. Probably grade six, and he was part of a lot of math camps that was happening in the US before he came to India, and he's been part of the IMOTC since last 2 years. and he was part of the IMOTP, AMOTP course in the past as well. So, Manu, you would like to share your experience? Like Raghav, you have what suggestions do you have for other students? Maybe you can start with what you are doing currently and how is your Olympiad journey and math journey been so far?
Hello, sir. So I'm Manu. I joined RAM in sixth grade when I was, I think, 11. And then so I did RMOTP, which was IMOTP back then in seventh grade. And then the year after that, I wrote IOQM, but I did badly, like how Raghav did too. And then I did AMOTP, and then I improved a lot because of AMOTP, especially in combinatorics and number theory. And then the year after that, I cleared IOQM and an INMO. They didn't have RMO that year, so as a student, I think what really helped was the fact that, especially in AMOTP, I was solving a lot of the questions in class and interacting a lot, which was pretty helpful. And then sometimes Murli sir gave these problem sets with really good problems in them. And then another thing I found really helpful is solving problems on my own apart from that. Like sometimes I just take random problems and try to solve them, usually from AOPS, and that helped a lot. One more thing. So sometimes they'd give form sets like 40 or 50 forms, and I knew there was no way I'd be able to solve all of them. So like in that type of situation, I just like left many of them. Like in my opinion, I don't think it's important to do every problem that you get because there's like infinitely many Olympiad problems, and almost all of them will be different from each other. So doing only the ones that you can learn the most from is important. And there's some problems which like don't need to be done, or even if you don't have the time, you just don't have to do all the problems. But doing forms is important, and I spend basically every minute of the day in ninth grade and 10th grade doing problems. In ninth grade, what really helped is I tried forms that were above my level before the INMO, and that really helped, especially since the INMO that year was a difficult paper. After that, in 10th grade, I had boards, but I basically didn't prepare for boards. And I only did Olympiads the whole time, which really helped. One thing I really enjoyed about IMOTC is that you get to meet students who also are good at mathematics and you get a lot of more opportunities. So I think it's a great choice for all of you to try to get there. Even INMO is a great experience to write because it gives you a lot of context preparations. Like, for example, like in school exams, you just try to solve every problem. And if it's a 2 hour test, I'm pretty sure many of us will finish in less than an hour. But in INMO, there'll be, if it's a 4 hour test, at least in the first year, after 4 hours, I was only done with 2 problems. So it's like the exact opposite. Like Olympiads are very different from school maths per se, and the Olympiad forms get harder and harder. Like even compared to now, the Olympiad forms are still gonna get much harder. But the fact that the forms are getting harder is actually nice because, well, it's really fun to solve hard problems, and you guys will start liking to solve the hard problems pretty soon. Yes, so that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manu, for sharing those insights. So I have a quick question for Manu and Raghav. All right. One is, I mean, both of you, how do you manage doing both Olympiad as well as school stuff? Because I think with the expectations that Murli sir also said, 5 hours per week in the first year and 10 hours, I mean, first 6 months and 10 hours for the next 6 months. Do you really think it is doable? And how did you go about working on problems? Were you sitting on, you had a timed, schedule where you would sit work on problems, or were you working on problems while you were doing something else? If you can share how you are doing, and then after that, we would like to go to Bhamre sir for sharing the geometry part. Yeah. Either of you, I mean, or both of you, Manu, Raghav.
So I'll start with myself. Like, for me, like what I did was like usually like in school sometimes it's not that interesting what's going on. Whereas sometimes you also get free periods and stuff, right? So what I used to do is like I used to take a problem, like every day I used to like take some problem from Google or whatever book is there. I used to go to school and I used to think about it for the whole day. So like sometimes if you in the history lecture you're getting bored, then you can just think about it for a bit and try write something on jot down something on the pen and paper and to kind of write stuff like that. And recently like in my new school like they allowed me to do my own stuff in maths period. So I was not supposed required to do like follow what the teacher was doing. Like I was allowed to sit in the corner and do whatever I wanted on my own. So I mean, in that case, my school was also pretty supportive. Apart from that, and before that, so like yes, lots of times like schools are not quite that demanding. So you can and like school stuff is also, like usually pretty easy. Like you can just finish it quickly. And the thing is like, or if you get free periods in school, instead of doing mathematics, you can just complete the school work there. So when you come home, you don't have to do that, and you get more time for mathematics. Another thing is like you can also devote your Saturday, Sundays to doing bit more math compared to weekends. So you can try to make a schedule like that. Of course, like I did not plan something very dot to dot, like okay, now I have to sit for 1 hour, I have to solve these many problems for today, and then that's that. So it was just more of a process, like okay, I have some problems, and I just keep on trying those problems until I get them. So in the beginning, like it was just about getting familiar with the concepts and all, and also like revising stuff, like whatever stuff is concepts you have learned. Also, another thing which I did not have, but like now that I'm here, I feel that I should have had is like a peer group. So peer groups are also like pretty good. And like uh so like I mean you can learn from each other. Then there are problems that okay, you find you approach this in some XYZ way, whereas another person approaches this in some ABC way. And usually like both of these have their own insights as their own new ways of thinking. So the peer group is that way pretty important. And like you can just find friends who are in doing the course and then like maybe talk to them and see if you are willing to form a group. And then when it comes to managing stuff, like yeah, again, like just keep a time schedule. Just think of try to complete your schoolwork as soon as possible. And yeah, and then everything should go smoothly. Like so just try to be disciplined is like the key takeaway.
So I was homeschooled in ninth grade, so I didn't really have much schoolwork to do. So I did Olympiads most of the day. One famous quote that someone shared with me is that if you don't think about something in the shower, you won't do as well. So like whenever I had free time, I'd be thinking about the recent Olympiad problem. Uh, and then what Raghav said about doing Olympiads in school, I've even taken to printing out a whole sheet of forms and just bringing it to school inside a folder. Um, I didn't really have a rigorous schedule for doing Olympiads, as I mentioned before, but I did a lot of Olympiad throughout ninth and 10th grade, and it helped a lot. In 10th grade, just before the board exams, though, I was doing a little less Olympiads. So,
I'm sure there would be somebody with a gun on your head behind you at home before the boards. Thank you, Manu. Thank you, Raghav. And let's, before we open for questions, let's go to Bhamre sir. Bhamre sir, please
Yeah.
share your thoughts, your insights on how do we need to prep for the geometry part. Yeah. Hmm.
Hi. Hello to all. Um, I will like
Yes, we
to
can see you. Yeah.
share the screen. Okay. So as earlier, Dr. Murli sir, as well as Tambe sir, put so many inputs. So actually, I'm not going to do the same again and again. But here are some stuff that I would like to show you about what we are expecting. Okay. So Directly, I am jumping to what IMOTP geometry we are going to do. That, okay. So basically that in IMOTP, we are concentrating on solving IOQM and partly RMO. You know that IOQM is like integer type answer in 2 digits and RMO is descriptive. So we need to balance. It is obviously then useful for NMTC, National Math Talent Contest by AMTI. And I would like to correct one thing that Vinay told me that now I am editor, but now I left that place and now I am looking after NMTC. And yeah, Murli sir is already involved in NMTC for so long period. Um, so NMTC is also a better exam for preparing IOQM kind of things. Here we expect some prerequisites that I said here school geometry till grade 9th. But I wonder that if you are thinking about which board and all, but I am from Maharashtra and some 10 years before or 12 years before, what syllabus was there of geometry. I think that is wonderful. If somebody wants, they can download e-Bal Bharati books from that website. So here I say expected prerequisites. So I consider that you know these all things and then we are going to build ahead. So here I just put some topics. Consider that only these are the names, but our main aim is to go in some depth and trying to solve some problems. We will focus on some numerical problems as well as proof-based questions also. That is basically we intend for IMOTP. Here, I would like to tell the good books for mainly for geometry. Here, a school geometry, it is by Hall and Stevens, which is available on Amazon or Flipkart or maybe in PDF. Challenge and Thrill of Pre-College Mathematics, as Tambe sir stated that it is the first book written by Indian authors in India for Indian students, which is really like what we say Bhagavad Gita for introducing ourselves for Olympiad. Then Triangle is very nice, small book written by Dr. Muralidharan and Subramanian. It contains inequalities as well as good geometry problems on constructions. So you can also visit AMTI site or ask them to, you can order, where you also find a book by Murli sir on combinatorics. So you can purchase those books. Problem Primer for Olympiad is published by Prism Publication, again written by Praneshchar sir as well as BZV and all. Then there is, like what Tambe sir told, challenging problems in algebra. There is a book, Challenging Problems in Geometry. Those are very nice. Okay. Then these are like what the books you must purchase. One thing I must tell you that these books contain thousands of questions. Don't expect that every question to be solved. And it is not necessary that everybody is going to complete that. Once you should have get that trigger, how to attempt the problem. And at least for me, I always feel that when I solve geometry, that is the first day for me because only knowing the theorems is not sufficient. We need some more focused work on that. Okay, so uh, turning to ourselves for now, AMOTP geometry here. We are mainly focusing on RMO and INMO. We will learn some geometric configurations, some lemmas, and we will solve geometry problems by using different tools or techniques. Yeah, there are many different methodology we can apply for geometry. I would like to share one experience that this year NMTC National Mass Talent Contest, I just went through the answer scripts. There were two questions on geometry for 11, 12, like interlevel. We may consider that interlevel like RMO kind of problems, and more nearly say 600 students appear that inter. But out of 600 students, what I found, hardly 34 or 35 students completed both geometry problems. And I just noted down the different methodologies that used nearly, uh, apart from the model answer, I got 9 different approaches to the same problem. So that's very awesome that even if I didn't think in that way, that students were thinking. So that's like, so for solving problems, we have different tools or techniques that we will try to learn. Here, I would like to tell you 3 books only. Already the earlier books are there, and challenge entry I gave because third and fourth chapters are dedicated for geometry. Trigonometry is also a better chapter. Coordinate geometry is also included in that. And in new edition of challenge entry, there is inclusion of inversion. So that is also very nice. Euclidean geometry in the mathematical Olympiad. That is my printing mistake over here. Sorry. So that must be mathematical Olympiad. By typing, I missed that. It's okay. It is written by Ivan Chen. And Geometry Revisited. It is again very nice book that contains good topics. Apart from that, if I have some PDFs, I will share with them, that will be shared with you. And I would like to tell or ask those students attending AMTP what Raghav said, that he didn't get some peer group. But I would like to request you all that you try to become your peer group, at least online, and share the things as well as your views and the stuff that you are having. It creates a good kind of atmosphere, and also it helps to progress. Then basically, there should be one question that if suppose I am not going to get selected in IMOTC because out of some lakh students only 6 are coming, then what? But it is very important that when we prepare for Maths Olympiad, then our mathematical foundation gets stronger and stronger, and it helps us for deeper understanding and many mathematical issues which we always need in our bright careers, like finances, economics, computer science. Like our RAM Foundation conducts one great maths camp known as math.biz, which is dedicated for financial mathematics. So nowadays, many IITians also, like chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, tend to some financial aspects because it is very essential and hot topic nowadays. So here are, I just expressed a few, but not all, professions where mathematical foundations and deeper understanding is helpful. So don't consider that this kind of IMOTP, AMOTP are not worth, because you are not going to find in your regular school that like these problems are coming up. Then you may consider or frustrated that what is the use of this all. But I ask you that do this seriously, and not necessarily only in IMOTC, but in your future studies, you will understand. Remember that, just I can tell you, I find that there are so many students doing uh, inter like 11, 12 mathematics in their school, but they are not understanding what they are doing. Mechanically, they solve. And it is mathematical Olympiad problems are not like that. You can solve them mechanically. Knowing the formula, you are getting up. We need real, deep understanding. And there are so many aspects in our courses we are going to discuss and interact. So consider that you are really fortunate that having this knowledge now in your school days. And because of that, I am a little bit jealous, because when I was in school, we were not knowing this. And I think when I completed my 10th, then also first Indian team didn't attend the IMO. So in that period, that Olympiad activity might have just started. But you are really fortunate, and nowadays, because of this all technological era, you have good resources immediately. So take the right path and benefit of these all, and do always better, think for better, and be punctual, consistent, and show your complete dedication to the working, so that you will get great benefits in your future. So that's all. So thanks to all, and I think you might have got something. So thanks, Vinay, and all.
Thank you, Bhamre sir. Thank you so much. Right, so let me just stop the YouTube stream and we will